Hello, my name's Tom Carhill. It's Thursday the 14th of August 2014. I want to make a quick video about the UK's Criminal Injuries Compensation Association. That's CICA, I believe. What is it? CICA.gov.uk, yeah, known as the CICA. That's Criminal Injuries Compensation Association. I put a claim in with them once in the past, maybe under another guise, maybe it's called something different, because that's the big thing in England. They rebrand everything. Well, in Britain, they keep rebranding everything constantly whenever it gets a bad name. All of these apparent government agencies that meant there to help you are all there just to cause you problems. This one though does give you money, so that's sort of like it's a bit of a double-edged carrot with this one, I suppose. Yeah, to use a wrong expression. But I'll just give you the code of my my case, which was X/13/302/514 that's a minus TM for mother, that is 6A. So I'll read it again: X/13/30/25/14 Tango Mike 6 Alpha. Right, so I made that claim sometime, I believe, in 2013, maybe actually the tail end of 2012. I forget the details. Now, one of the things you have to have for these claims is you have to have made a complaint to the police, which I did. So I had a crime reference number, right? See what happens is then, so a crime reference number, obviously you've really got to kind of go to the police, very shortly after the incident happened, or you have to got a good excuse not to. Now, I went the actual day after the event happened. What happened is somebody mugged me, and they hit me in the face with something here, and you can't really see it too well, but in certain lights it's just one of these things. It's not very prominent, the scar now, but in certain lights it is, just like I've got another scar on my head there, which was when someone scratched me in the head with some keys a while ago, and that was the time I claimed the last time. But you see this scar here, I'm just getting confused because when you're looking at yourself in the camera, what happened there was my tooth went through my lip, and there's a hole in my mouth here, right? And whilst it's cured itself now, it was great big. It was blown up, because whenever you get an actual hole straight through a part of your body, you actually get massive you're going around with a great big golf ball sized mouth for like a week afterwards, and then it cures very well after that. But the point is, I went straight to the doctor, so there's a medical report. You have to, to do their forms, you have to give them a crime reference number, otherwise they won't even consider you. Now, what they then do is they basically do nothing for a while, write back to you and start asking you things like, when did it happen, where did it happen, and what's the crime reference number. They start asking you these ridiculous questions. Now, on a few occasions I phoned them. I actually recorded some of the calls. I'll have to locate them, but I'm not in England now. But the point is that what they start doing is they start asking all these questions, and they just basically show a total lack of empathy, and they're in fact extremely rude, obnoxious, unhelpful. And what's the point of you filling in a form with all these details, which they then go and get off the police anyway, for them then to go and ask you them again? It's just there to infuriate you and depress people. Now, what you've got to remember is, I just got punched in the head, right? That's what happened to me. I got punched in the head. I think it was with an object. I think it was my head was holding a piece of metal. I was very drunk at the time, but I remember what happened. And I mean, the injury, if you get a cut here, I mean, it's not consistent with falling over or anything like that anyway, is it? It's clearly that's what happened. And the point is, the police went on, and they went in looking into it. They did an investigation. They checked on all the cameras. They were totally convinced that this thing happened, right? But they just said they couldn't find the person, which is fair enough. That's probably what I expected to happen. But the thing is, jumping forward 2 years, I'm away, as I said. My brother's got a letter off them, because that was where they had me down as living. And I'll go back into the rest of the story. And they're sort of saying, oh yeah, but maybe you fell over and all this stuff. Now, right, so they're basically trying to say it wasn't an injury after all. So you've got the police taking it seriously, investigating, spend lots of man hours checking all the camera footage on that street, because it's on one of TfL's Transport for London Strategic Road Network. So there's cameras and all that type of stuff, so they can actually check a lot of stuff. So they were messing around, putting in man hours on this one. They definitely thought it happened. I made a statement. The whole thing is, it's totally legit. And then, a couple of years later, after accepting it all happened, they start saying, oh, did it happen? You see, so it's like, well, hang on a minute. If they said that to start off with, that would be fine. And then but you see, in the interim period, right, I'll explain to you how it happened here. So I don't have it all to hand now. I possibly could find it. It's largely irrelevant because the whole point of this, they spin these things out over years. Right, on the 19th of March 2013, I've put a note on my Hotmail. Letter arrived on the 15th of the 3rd, saying that it should all be sorted within 18 months, and I've told myself to set a reminder every 6 months on my Hotmail. And the scanner wasn't working, so I didn't scan the letter. And their number is, well, this would be in England, so it'd be +44. But if you're calling from England, it'd be 030 000 33601. Right, so that's what the note I put down then was. Now, when I was doing like one of the checks, I don't know if it was before this or after that date there in time, but you see, I'm only, the way these things get mixed up over time, because they keep you waiting for like years for these things. What happened was I phoned them up, and they started giving me the same old nonsense. I'd filled in various forms for them. I'd sent them off. I've got them all down, and they just kept repeatedly going and asking the most elementary questions that are prerequisite requirements for them to even become involved. They kept asking them again, like as though you're gonna once you said it happened on my birthday last year or whatever, you're not gonna unless it was your birthday or something, you're not even gonna remember the date. You're only gonna remember what you've written down. It's not reasonable that you'd expect it anyway. It's just a total farce to make you constantly have to relook over things. And so I can remember I phoned up. I forget exactly what the reason for the call was, but it was just in the process to chase them up. And also, that's the other thing, I'd moved house. So, I was aware that possibly letters had come through. And what happened was, I forget whether this was before I'd moved house or after, but I was talking to this Scottish gentleman on the phone. The call centre's in Scotland. And he was basically being a complete pain. He was the second person who spoke to me. They always start saying you're being rude to them. If you say, look, you're being obnoxious and obstructive, they'll then say, you shouted. And of course, you'd never shout, because I never shout when I'm in a confrontational situation, because it shows weakness. So it's very rare. I'll only ever shout. I don't even like shouting if I'm calling for someone in the distance. So I never shout. I don't need to raise my voice. And what they do is they start saying, you be rude, and putting the phone down and stuff like that. Now, in this instance, I spoke to this second person who's kind of meant to be a boss, right? And I said to him, look, your whole system is an absolute disgrace. And I said to him, imagine I've just been punched in the head. I was half cut. I went home. I was annoyed about it. There was blood all over the place. It made a hole in my head. But the whole point is, it's not, I'm not scared to walk down a street and stuff like that. I still function perfectly well. Yet on the same structure, if you look at their compensation scheme, you've got people who've been raped and sort of repeatedly raped and all sorts of stuff like that. And you've got to remember, and beaten really badly, had their limbs chopped off, and they've got a pay scale which frankly doesn't really go up that much whether you get hit in the head, and then you only get 10 times as much if you have your arm chopped off. So it's quite a flawed system, I'd say. But that aside, it is a structure. Now, and as I said, it does prescribe things about getting raped and stuff like that. Now, I said to him, look, the way you've talked to me and your sidekicks talk to me is so totally unacceptable. It shows a total lack of empathy. And I'm sure you get, and he's like, yeah, we get training, blah, blah, blah. And I said, hang on a minute, look, what about if your mum had got raped and she phoned your lot up and you were putting the phone down on her, telling her she's lying and saying she's raising her voice, lying and saying she's being rude? And he's going, you mustn't say that, you mustn't. I was, hang on a minute, mate, you're meant to be pretending to be empathetic here. Complete nonsense. And he went off on a mad rant, started shouting and screaming. He was so, a lot of people wouldn't even be able to understand what he was saying, but I can understand Scottish people. When they get angry, a lot of people wouldn't be able to understand, because it's not proper English, is it? It's like a Celtic dialect. But I immediately phoned up after that, or did I tell him I wanted to speak to his boss, and she spoke back. So this guy, he sort of can't, he was just off, he went off his head. And she got back and she said, I'll have to listen to the call. Or she maybe called me back after she listened to the call, and she said, yeah, I accept his behaviour. He's never done anything like this before, but I understand exactly what you're saying. His behaviour was totally unacceptable, and he's actually very sorry, and he's calmed down now, blah, blah. And I was like, well, that's no problem, but the whole point is, you're not doing it, you don't seem to be doing anything to address this, you've been messing me around. As I've said to you, I'm not lying and saying I've got all sorts of psychological trauma, but the point is, this is a process. I'm entitled to have a hearing to see if I'm going to get any money. It's a standard thing. There's money there for me to potentially have, and you're just messing me around, and I'm a victim of crime, and you're talking to me like I'm an idiot, and being rude to me, lying about me. It's absolutely, totally unacceptable. She said, yeah, well, I agree that I can understand where you're coming from. You haven't actually been rude at any point. You didn't say anything wrong to anybody. It was all them. It was all their fault. This is what the lady said. She was another Scot, and she was the manager. Right now, so in between that, then they've got back again and started asking. Give me a second here. They've got back again and they've started asking more questions about, like what's going on, what's up, all this sort of normal nonsense. They just start going on, exactly when did it happen, blah, blah, blah. Can you send some pictures? So you send some pictures in. They don't say, oh, those pictures are no good. Now, of course, this is when it's all healed up. But you've got a doctor's report. I've got a doctor's report. They know the name of the doctor. It's all been filled in on the form. And basically what I did is I wrote on the 21st of June 2013, and I said, I'll read the letter out because it'll be just as quick, right? So just in case anyone's listening to this and they want to kind of it might help you fill in your claim, I'll say it's like CICA Tay House, Tay House, 300 Bath Street, Glasgow, G2 4 Lima, November. Phone number 030 000 33601. Now in my case the claim was X-13-302 514 X/13/302 514 Tango Mike 6 Alpha. And at the time I was living at Fulford Mansions in London, but I moved since then, so that's why I was explaining before. Dear sirs, confirm receipt by return. And I can tell you now they didn't. Regarding criminal injury claim. And of course at the top I've got my reference. And I've got 2 points on the header line. 1. Apparently the details haven't been sent yet. 2. Data Protection Act subject access request. Now that pertains to I think it's the 2010 Data Protection Act, and you've got this function called a subject access request, and this function is overseen by the Data Commissioner. Now this is not a freedom of information request. This is about information pertaining to you that an organisation holds. So it's not information that you're entitled to or not entitled to get under the from the government. This is a Data Protection Act request, not to be confused with a freedom of information request. Right, first line. It seems that you haven't been getting my correspondence, so I enclose that which has already been sent, that you may proceed to process this claim. Now I'll make it very clear at this point, whenever I'm dealing with any of these idiots in the government or these pseudo-government organisations, I always make sure I send everything called a delivery, because now it's absolutely outrageous. If you don't send things called delivery, the Royal Mail basically just try and lose stuff. They lose stuff all the time. Even if you send it special delivery, they sometimes go, it got lost. And you're like, what are you going to do about it? It's absolute disgrace. And then they make you fill in all these ridiculous forms that go on and on and on and on forever, even though you've got insurance. It's like getting blood out of a stone. They're deliberately losing stuff or allowing things to get stolen so that everybody has to pay 10 times as much to send the most simple thing. It's an absolute disgrace. Well, England is a disgrace now, or Britain is a disgrace now, as you probably know. And it's going the same in every country, and this is obviously by design. Right, so anyway, I'll start again. It seems that you haven't been getting my correspondence, so I enclose that which has already been sent, that you may proceed to process my claim. And this is, just so you remember, it's on the 21st of 6th, 2013, right? I know that most of the questions have been answered more than once already, and I am disappointed that this has been necessary or understand what purpose it serves. Please let me know if there are any further requirements. Please also see notes on already filled in forms regarding Data Protection Act subject access request, Data Protection Act SAR. So that's the same thing in kind of what they be referred to in kind of in acronyms, and then enclosed photos ×2, 1 page, forms filled in 5 pages, and other letters 9 pages. So you've got 2 pages of photos of my lip with the cut on it. Then you've got a few questions, two lots of letters written on the same day from them saying that I haven't sent anything and they're going to cancel the claim, that were dated on the when are they dated? I can't find it now, so I'll just get 4th of June and the 4th of June 2013. Then there's some more stuff that came on the something April, the 30th of April 2013, another one on the 15th of April. They're all asking me about things to do with treatment. One of them's asking about, the one on the 15th of April is asking me about my current medical treatment. And I've already explained that the doctor said that was it, like it's finished. That's already been all explained. And the one on the 30th of April 2013, sorry, 2013, yeah, that's right. It had, we want to know the exact time, the exact date, and the place of the incident. Now, obviously, I've told all this because you have to do that to get a police report. You can't say I got robbed in a place and I can't remember where it is. They won't take a police report. So they've got all this. They're just being awkward and obstructive and trying to cause unnecessary distress. Now, technically in England, under the 1997 Protection from Harassment Act, I'm entitled to claim for this. So this kind of behaviour actually does constitute criminal harassment because they're trying to obstruct me from doing something that I'm legally entitled to do. And not only that, they're legally meant to be providing this service. They're not part of the police or the military or the MI5 or something, so they're not allowed to harass you as part of their job because the police and the security service and the army would be allowed to. They've got an exemption. But all of this stuff's been provided in the past, like my doctor, 10 St John's Way Medical Centre, Archway, N19 3RN. It's there. It's got a scar on face still. That's what my condition was. This is on one of their forms. Yeah. Whilst there was a lot of swelling as a whole had gone all the way through, I was not working, and when it popped, because it actually popped the kind of thing when it's, I can't read the rest of it, it's on its side, so it's a bit difficult. But anyway, so I've put lots of details there. Yeah, I've got like another 2 pages of details explaining exactly what happened. Now, there's another letter they sent to me on the 19th of March 2013, so that would have been just before the other ones, and that was the one that was asking me for all the other, it's basically asking for the details that was on that last form. That was the form that I just sent in, that was the cover letter. And, there's more stuff, so it goes on for another few pages, right, so that's that. See, the whole point with these people is you have to constantly chase them up, and then what they do is they send letters. They don't phone you, they don't email you like would be standard. They send letters hoping you won't get them, and then they just sort of make out as though you've been clumsy and haven't followed it with claim. Now, that I haven't got the other letter with me, but they're basically slagging me off and sort of saying that probably I was drunk and I fell over and it didn't even happen. Absolutely fucking disgraceful behaviour. Absolutely standard for any British government institution or pseudo-government institution. So that's the way it goes. So what I would like to do is I'd like to start, I'm going to have a little look in a minute, and I'm going to find out these people's names, the people I spoke to, because I've got it all noted down somewhere, but just not to hand. I'm going to find out who they all are, and I think the thing is, what needs to start happening is they get criminal actions brought against them for misconduct in public office. Now, it could be misfeasance, the civil offence, or malfeasance, but it's definitely misfeasance. It's definitely misconduct in public office, which is an offence, either civil or criminal, and also it's harassment under the 1997 Protection from Harassment Act, and it could even be stalking, according to some of the acts relating to that, because it's all linked to harassment. But I mean, this is a criminal matter. These people are meant to be doing a job, and they're just like pressing people. So if you imagine if you'd actually have a real big problem, and they were depriving you of maybe £30,000 or £40,000 just because they have been told that it's just like a private insurance company would. They're an absolute disgrace. I'm just going to write to them today on an email. I'm going to see if I can put a bit of a fire under them to get some stuff going, because otherwise I'm going to have to pursue this, because they're an absolute disgrace. And I feel it's a duty whenever you deal with a public institution or pseudo public institution or state funded, Quango type, no liability from the MPs type institution. If they start messing you around and like terrorising you, trying to depress you and harass you and cause you problems, you've got to pursue it, even if it doesn't have a major effect on your life. You've got to pursue it, because these people are scum. They'll just say, I'm just doing my job. Well, if your job is to be a scumbag and to harass people and behave in a criminal manner, then you deserve to be in prison, don't you? So that's my attitude on it. As I said, my name's Tom Carhill. I'll be happy to speak to anyone who'd like to discuss this further or share any details. I'm thinking about putting a website up for a blog, because I want to name names, make it personal, get pictures of them, show where they live, so people can go and spit at them in the street if they want. That's the thing. It's like with the various other things that have happened over the years. As soon as these people get exposed, they start doing their job. as they are meant to be doing it. Now, we all know they're not meant to be doing anything for our good, but the point is they pretend that's what they're doing. So they're taking part in a traitorous scheme to basically, it's just a traitorous scheme against their own kind, because these people, they could be in a position where they'd have to claim off it. These aren't rich people, I don't think, who run these organisations. They're working class, basically nobody as far as the system's concerned. So that's basically my plan. So my name's Tom Carhill. It's the 14th of August 2014, and it's a Thursday. So get in touch with me. I'll attach into this video if you've got any stories similar to this to tell, because I want to start banging them up. I want to kind of make this a bit of a subject area, because I think it's very important, because they're meant to be there to help you. Why on earth would you hand out a hand to someone to help them and then just start causing them problems and saying they're a liar? Absolutely disgusting. These people are this scum. They deserve to be in prison. So maybe we can persuade them to be good by forcing them or embarrassing them. That's the best way of forcing people, I've found. Thanks very much. I've been Tom Carhill. Bye bye.